Hello again, this is Rob with DJOwner.com. I'm here in my corner rehearsal space in my house. And I want to talk to you a little bit today about starting your DJ business and what that's going to cost you to get started. Now, I saw a lot of different things online talking about the cost of starting a DJ business and what that might be to start up. And I've seen figures of 10,000, I've seen figures of 15 or 20,000. I didn't start anywhere near that when I got started as a DJ. And in fact, you probably have a lot of the things that you need to get started already. It's going to just cost you that much less to become a DJ business. So in reality, even if you started with nothing, you could probably get started with the bare basics of what you need to DJ professionally and start making money for about $1,200. It's a very, very simple process overall, and you really just need four basic things, not three, but four basic things when you get started. First and foremost, you're going to need something to play music on. Most people are going to do a laptop and controller setup with this, but I'll tell you, bottom line, your most basic rule, start with what you have already. If you're interested in DJing, if you've been collecting music over the years, you probably have some equipment that you could play music on right now. So start with that and start getting creative, start thinking about what you could do with what you already have to get started. That's going to be a big, big difference. Save you a lot of money when you start your DJ business. It's just that much less equipment that you need to buy. If you're starting from nothing, or if you want to make sure that you go to that full laptop controller that a lot of digital DJs are using these days, then your first step is a laptop. Now, this doesn't by any means have to be the fanciest laptop in the world. I'm right now recording on my laptop, so you can't see it here in the shot, but I have a MacBook Air. Great laptop, great for DJing, very portable, kind of on the expensive side. I use the MacBook Air because I already owned a MacBook Air. Whatever laptop you have right now is probably good enough to DJ on. So start with that. In fact, your best idea is to work backwards. Take a look at some of the popular DJ software out there like Serato, Traktor, Virtual DJ. Those are like the big three. If you're going more club DJing, you might want to look into the Pioneer software and Rekordbox. Take a look at some of that software, maybe even download some free trials onto the laptop you already have and see how it performs. That's going to be your big indicator on whether what you have is enough. The other thing to look at, just look at the specs for that software. How much memory does it require? How much free hard drive space does it require? You're going to want to have a laptop that has a pretty good hard drive because you're going to want to obviously store your music on that hard drive and take it with you when you go to play gigs. So that will be an important factor as well. But again, if you're collecting music, you've got a music collection already, you want to become a DJ, you probably have the space already that has all that music in it. Now, you're going to want a pretty fast hard drive, and you're going to want to have it locally on your computer. So I wouldn't recommend things like Chromebooks or those small, what do they call them? The really small laptops. You also want something with a decent-sized screen, so you'll be able to see it when you're out playing events. 11 inches is probably okay. 13 inches is better, 15 even better, so on and so forth. But altogether, you shouldn't be spending probably more than about $500 on a laptop, even if you ran out and bought something brand new. Again, go back to the specs of the software that you're planning on using, and then look at this next part here, the controller, which is number two, the item number two that you'll need, and look at that for what requirements you'll need in a laptop. In fact, that's probably a better way to get started. Let's talk about number two, which probably should have started there in the first place, your controller. Now, I actually have mine in front of me here. This is a Denon MC3000. I got this off of Craigslist for about $250. Oh, geez. Going on probably 10 years ago at this point. It's definitely not state-of-the-art, but it still works really, really well. So my recommendation on controllers, that's going to be, so if you're brand new to this, let me back up a little bit. When you load up your music on a laptop and you want to play that somewhere, it really is helpful. You can actually DJ with just a laptop. Now, there's a lot of different cabling you need to get into. We've got a lot of different modifications that you need to make. It's not the best way to do it. So if you want to go all out and really be at that professional level, you probably need a controller like this. You can see on the back here, there's a lot of inputs and outputs. This one specifically will output directly to professional level speakers. So that's my recommendation, is get yourself a controller that has what they call either quarter-inch or XLR outputs. And long story short, that will plug directly into pro-grade speakers and save you from carrying around a mixer. You can go a smaller laptop, or a smaller controller rather, with a mixer, and that'll work just fine too. But it's a lot easier if it's built in, and that's why I actually sought out the MC3000, is because it's got that built-in mixer, has the ability to plug a mic in it directly, and can plug directly into professional speakers. It's one less thing that I have to carry with me, one less thing that I had to buy to get started. So this cost me about $250. I would say any controller less than that price point probably isn't going to be worthwhile. When you get down into the $150, $200 range, you're dealing with something that's probably meant for amateurs, not actually going to connect up to professional gear. So that's something that you want to be aware of. The other part of it too is just look for a previous version of whatever you're really interested in right now. So that's, again, how I came across the MC3000 was there was an MC4000 on the market that everybody was really raving about. And I said, what can get me 90% of those features and it cost me about half the price? And that's how I found a great used controller that somebody was ready to get rid of. There are a lot of people that are hobbyist DJs. There are a lot of people that think they're going to be big time, big names, go out and spend a ton of money on equipment, and then don't touch it. And it sits in a closet collecting dust for years and years. That is a great, great way to get a controller. So go on eBay, go on Craigslist, even search some of the Amazon used listings. You will find some great options in that $250 range that will get you started as a professional DJ. So that's your laptop, that's your controller. Obviously, you need to play on something. You're going to want some speakers. So speakers are kind of tricky. And my tip for speakers is get powered speakers. If you don't have powered speakers in the professional grade, you're going to need an external amplifier. That's a lot more wiring. That's a lot more gear to carry around. That's one more expense that you're going to have to go down. So that is something that I just avoided altogether. When I started as a DJ with a professional DJ company up in Michigan back in the late 90s, oh, I'm old. Anyway, back in the late 90s, we had two kind of systems. We had smaller systems that had powered speakers, and we had the larger systems where I had to lug around the big amplifier. The powered speakers were definitely the way to go, and they've gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper over the years. Now, if you go out and buy brand new JBLs or Mackeys or QSCs, those are going to cost you upwards of $600 a speaker. You don't have to spend that much to get started. Again, Craigslist was my friend here. I went out and I found a set of speakers on Craigslist that were an older version, but the version that I had used in my professional company, and $250 for a set of JBL 15-inch powered speakers. Steel. It's $250 for both. They were probably worth $250 a piece, so I got a great, great deal on them. I also got a great deal because they were pretty beat up. They had been used as monitors in a bar. There was an inch of dust on one of the cones in the speakers. So it took some cleaning up and some repainting, but they ran like champs from when I bought them. I was able to test them in the guy's garage when I picked them up, and they sounded great. They were just dirty and beat up, so I was able to take them home, clean them up, repaint the fronts. Very easy to take care of. And that's the other great thing that you get with professional speakers like that, is you get a very durable piece of equipment that usually with just a little spit and polish, you can get back up and running in no time. And if you do need help, if you're buying a super cheap pair that maybe there's some issues with them, just find yourself a professional audio video shop that can repair them for you. And also obviously know what that cost is going to be going in. So it's doable. I found a pair of great professional speakers for $250, again, when I first got started. You can, however, if that's a little bit outside of your price range to get started, or you're not finding what you're looking for, you can always forego a speaker purchase and rent speakers instead. If you go to my website, djowner.com, and search for the top secret for travel DJs, you will find an article that I wrote about renting gear when I go to remote locations. You can also do that for local events as well. Wait until you get hired, know that you're not going to be able to plug into a sound system that's already there at the venue, and then you'll be able to rent the gear just for that event. It's very inexpensive. You can get a weekend rental on powered speakers with stands for like $100. So very, very reasonable and a great option when you're starting out to not have to spend that expense right away. And then finally, really simple option, headphones. You're going to want some DJ headphones that have two features. You're going to want isolation, so you can see really big cups there on those. Be able to put them over your head, and when you wear them, you're completely covering your ears. So it muffles the outside sound, so you won't get background noise from the speakers or people talking to you while you're trying to work on a mix. Very helpful for that. And then this one's kind of optional. You can go either way with it. Swivel cups. So these ones swivel so they fold. They also flip outwards. So a lot of DJs like to monitor in one ear and then hear on the other. Swivel cups are very helpful for that. You want something that'll be comfortable. You want something that'll be flexible so that you can pop them on and off your head very easily. This one actually happens to have a detachable cable. It popped out as I was talking to you about it. So you can plug this in and out as well as you go, or swap it out. A lot of guys or guys and gals, sorry, want to be correct. A lot of DJs like those coiled cables because they stretch as you move around, so that's a great option there. I'm fine with just the straight cable, so I've always gone with that. And I actually don't worry so much about the swivel cups because I have on my controller a mix knob where I can mix between queuing songs and the master tracks at the same time. So I like to do that instead. So I just wear the whole things myself. Totally up to you on what's more preferential. Key factors, though, again, big sound isolation ear cups. So look for DJ models. Swivel cups, very helpful. Something that's flexible and comfortable because you're going to be wearing them a lot. And very, very key. Do not go out and spend $200, $300 on DJ headphones. Pioneer, Allen and Heath, those top-end brands like that, Audio-Technica, sell some really amazing, really high-end headphones. These were $20. In fact, I don't even think they were $20. I think they were $16 on sale. I use a place called Monoprice. Monoprice.com is where I found these. They are 80 to 90% as good as some of the best professional headphones I've ever tried. And they will save you literally hundreds of dollars. And the best part about them is they're $16. So if I break them, who cares? If I drop them, who cares? If somebody steals them while I'm playing a gig somewhere and I walk away from my setup, who cares? They were $20. I don't have to babysit my headphones all night because they cost me next to nothing. In fact, I have like 4 pairs of these now. They're all still going fine. I haven't broken a single one of them. But I just don't bother with repacking headphones in my different setups. I've got a set in each setup, and then I've got a set that I use every day. And I don't have to worry about it. So really, really love Monoprice for everything. Again, you want some more details on the headphones, go to djaowner.com/headphones. That'll take you right to my review of Monoprice headphones, give you a link for all of that as well. And then finally, there's actually 5 things. I didn't read my notes well enough here, clearly. 5 things that you'll need. The final thing is music. Now, you probably have a lot of that music already. You're going to want to watch, depending on how you like to DJ and where you like to DJ, you might need edited tracks, which is kind of a different thing. It's tough to find independently or even through Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, that sort of thing. It's tough to find those edited tracks. I use a great DJ pool service. Now, if you're not familiar with that, a pool service is where DJs pay to be part of what used to be literally a record pool. It was DJs swapping records around. Now it's all digital. You go online to a collection where all of the big artists and labels are uploading promotional music and allowing you to download it for a flat rate. I use a company called Promo Only, and they're very inexpensive. I think I get the selection of the catalog that I want from them for about $12 a month. So very inexpensive that way. You can also look at streaming services. A lot of the softwares will incorporate with streaming. Spotify, SoundCloud Go, Beatport. Those are great options as well if you've got places where you're playing regularly, where you have a solid internet connection, or you can connect to your phone while you're on the road. Streaming is a good option for you too. But altogether, between my streaming service and my DJ pool, I'm only paying about $25 a month for that. So very, very inexpensive. You want to seek out a DJ pool that's got a nice back catalog so that when you first sign up, you're not stuck for just, okay, here's this week's or this month's selections that we've added to it. You have the ability to go back a little bit. That's another reason I love Promo Only. They have about 2 years worth of back catalog that you get instant access to right away. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of songs that you get access to for $12 a month. So that was a really great value for me to get started. And it was that holdover from the professional company. We used promo only. They mailed us CDs, and we had those CDs and used to lug those around to every event too. So luckily, we don't have to do that anymore. It's all digital. It's all in the laptop. So there it is, 5. Now I've revised my list. 5 basic things that you need to get started as a professional DJ and as a DJ business. So that'll be your laptop, your controller, your headphones, your speaker, and your music. So that's what it is there. Oh, speaking of speakers, I realized I left out a very important topic. Make sure that you're using professional grade speakers, or if you're using your own personal speakers for smaller events, like say a house party of 20, 30 people, that's fine. Be very, very cautious about your volume levels. Because when you go to play an event, and as the noise level increases, people start talking, people start mixing and mingling, and you go to turn up those speakers, it's very, very easy to blow out and ruin commercial grade speakers. Or not commercial, but consumer grade speakers. So you want to be very careful with any personal speakers you own to not be pushing them too hard. And most events are going to require professional speakers. So make sure that you, when you get to that level, and the event's going to have probably 40 or 50 people at a minimum, that's when you need to be at the level of having professional speakers. And again, I'd recommend JBL powered speakers because they've worked very well for me in the past. They're virtually indestructible. They're lightweight. They are expensive, but start with a used pair and you'll be in good shape. Some other items that you might want to take a look at as you start to grow your business that aren't necessarily immediate out the door, I'm ready to start playing for money kind of things. Liability insurance can be very helpful. It's only about $250 a year. Or there are places that will be event-based or even day-based where you can go online. The one that I know off the top of my head, djinsuranceInminutes.com. If you go on their website and you say, I'm playing an event for this date, you can type in a specific event date, or you can get an insurance for the entire year, and you can choose whether or not to cover your equipment. I wouldn't personally cover my equipment because I got a great deal on all my equipment. My equipment's worth about $1,200. If I'm going to pay an extra $100 a year to insure $1,200 worth of gear, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I might as well just save that money because I'm not going to lose my shirt if I lose $1,200 worth of gear. It's not that big of a deal. But what could get me in trouble is if somebody falls down, hits my equipment, hurts themselves, and I'm found liable for whatever reason. That's a great reason to have DJ insurance. And some of those venues will require you to have that as well. Business cards on a website. These probably something that you want to get right away. You want to get off of, you want to use social media, but you don't want to depend solely on social media to have your internet presence. You want to have a website eventually that people can point to, that you can say, hey, just go to my website. It's djwhoever.com. And be able to say, here's some of the things I can do. Here's some photos of me in action. Here's some videos, et cetera, et cetera. You want to have that home base. And again, business cards are the same idea. As soon as you get to where you're playing 1 or 2 events, you want to have business cards that you can hand out. Really, before that first event, you want to have business cards because you'll have somebody there say, if you did a great job, you'll have somebody say, you did a great job. I'm thinking about having a birthday party in a week or 2, or my wedding's 4 months from now. Could you help me with that? Absolutely, I can. Here's my card. Give me a call. We'll talk the details. Or send me an email, hit me on Facebook, whatever it is. Having that with you at that very first event, and out of the gate, you're ready to go. Some very, very cheap places you can get business cards now. You can do the research yourself, but I love overnightprints.com. I've seen people use Vistaprint as well. Very, very inexpensive. You can get 500, 1,000 cards for like 25, 30 bucks. Really not too bad. So that's an expense you don't need right away, but something I'd get to pretty quickly once you've got an event or 2 booked. Something very simple to use there. And that's pretty much about it that you need to get started. Now, you can go bigger and bolder. You can spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. You can make this a gigantic company. You can incorporate. You can do all of those things, but you don't need it to get started and to prove that you have the skills to be a DJ professionally and run a professional DJ business. It's going to take you about $1,200, maybe $1,500 if you go above board and spend everything that you need to spend. It's really, really not that expensive. So here would be my recommendation to you. Get yourself started right now with what you have today. and do an assessment, figure out what pieces do I have that fit into this DJ puzzle, what are the things that I need, and how can I get those things inexpensively and quickly so that I can start DJing for money right away. Because that's the big deal. As I started my business, I started with the very basics that I needed to actually go out and say, hey, I'm a professional DJ, I can work your event, I can make it a great time, and you can pay me for it. And then once I started getting people to pay me, that's when I turned around and bought more expensive equipment. I didn't even start with this controller when I got started. I started with just my laptop. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that. That can be a little stressful, and especially now that controllers are very, very inexpensive, it's an easy way to get started. So do that couple of things. And actually, if you go back to my website, I've got not only this list of everything that you need to get started, but I've also got some recommendations for different type of products you might want to take a look at in today's market space. Something a little bit, newer than my MC3000, for example. If I was starting over today and spending money to become a DJ in a professional setting, start my DJ business, what would I spend that money on? So do this. Go to djowner.com/get started, all one word. djowner.com/get started, and that will have on there a reference list of all the available equipment that you need and some of the things that I recommend to get you started.